Gregor Mendel was born on July 20th, 1822 in the Czech Republic to parents Anton and Rosine Mendel. The Mendel family grew up relatively poor on a farm in rural Czech Republic. Mendel had two sisters and was a middle child. Despite his financial situation, Mendel was able to get primary schooling at 11 years old because his parents were persuaded by a local priest to do so. At age of 18, Mendel completed his primary schooling and entered a 2-year philosophy program at the University of Olmütz. He was regarded to have a strong suit in physics and mathematics. During the program, he had to return home twice due to his depression and financial woes. Despite these circumstances, he went on to complete the program in 1843. When he was at home after his studies, he realized that he did not want to take over the family farm and traveled to Altbrunn Monastery located in Brunn, Moravia to be a novitiate of the Augustinian order in 1845. During his time at Altbrunn Monastery, he was given the name Gregorius as a novitiate, which is a term referring to a time of training before becoming a priest. During this time, Mendel sat in on lectures about crossbreeding fruit trees and viticulture. His supervisors began to notice and later offered him a position as a substitute teacher, which he did until a new teaching exam was required. He failed that exam in 1850, and in 1851 he attended the University of Vienna for 2 years. During his time in university, he studied mathematics and physics and worked under Austrian physicist Christian Doppler and mathematical physicist Andreas von Ettinghausen. He also worked with a botanist named Franz Unger, who taught Mendel about plant anatomy and how to use a microscope. Mendel returned to the monastery in 1853, and the next year, in 1854, he received a teaching position and taught for 14 years at Brunn Secondary School. In 1856, he attempted to pass the state teaching exam again, but failed due to a nervous breakdown. This did not hinder him as he continued teaching part-time and became devoted to his research. In 1866, he published his famous research paper titled Experiments on Plant Hybridization. This research was conducted starting in 1854 with the aim to trace the transmission of hereditary characteristics. He focused on the pea plant Pisum sativum because of the ease of growing the plant and the variety of traits. There were 34 plants used to test for 7 traits. Mendel crossed varieties that differed in a single trait to show the inheritance of the traits he was using to investigate heredity. This work showed that crossbreeding could produce new variants. Mendel also derived 3 laws from his experiments on pea plants. They are called the laws of inheritance. They include the law of segregation, law of domination and uniformity, and law of independent assortment. After his work on inheritance with the pea plants, Mendel sought to continue this work on heredity with honeybees, but ultimately failed to do so due to the difficulty of controlling mating behavior of queen bees. He did not gain much reputation over his work on pea plants during his lifetime. His work was considered too abstract, and his quantitative statistical analysis wasn't recognized in the field of botany at the time. During his time, it was a common belief that pagans were responsible for inheritance. Over his life, he did not publish a lot of work, but in 1871 he continued to work on meteorological and agricultural studies. Unfortunately, in 1883, Mendel became ill with kidney disease and died in January of 1884. A lot of his research was burned by a close associate of his after he died. While the true reason that Mendel's work was burned is not known, it is speculated that it could have been due to a tax dispute that Mendel had with the local government. His legacy does not stop here, as in 1900 a Dutch botanist and geneticist Hugo de Vries and Austrian botanist Erich Schirmack independently reported results of plant hybridization similar to Mendel's pea plants. Hugo de Vries in particular read Mendel's work on pea plants to help him come to a conclusion that plant hybridization leads to new variants. In 1901, a geneticist by the name of William Bateson saw Hugo de Vries' work relating to Mendel and cited Mendel's work in his Royal Horticultural Society paper titled Problems of Heredity. In 1902, Bateson introduced the term Mendelism, which is the fundamental idea that determines transmission of genetic traits. The proponents of the idea were coined Mendelians. William Bateson was one of the first scientists to fully recognize the importance of Mendel's work and build onto it to lead to the formation of a new field in biology called medical genetics. The work came after Mendel's initial discovery cemented his legacy as the father of modern geneticists. As a lot of other scientists that have been discussed in this series, Mendel did not get to see this cascade of research and progress that his initial work led to. Mendel's legacy shows us that sometimes the implications of our research may not be initially known, and it may take many years for it to be fully appreciated.